Hi guys, I'm back again with another video, and this is the final part of me drawing an Enviro 100 EV from Stagecoach. Now, I will admit in the other parts, except the first part, I didn't use my voice. I wasn't talking in the videos due to personal reasons, but I just thought for the final part of me putting the bus together, it would be more feasible for me to talk and talk you guys through what I'm doing and just have a conversation really, and my thoughts and opinions on this particular type of bus and electrics in general. So as you can see, if you have been watching the videos previously, towards the build up, I have drawn everything, put the logos on and everything, so now it's just me putting the bus together. So as you can see, I'm about to cut them out, but I forgot that I had a drink on my desk, and because it was so freezing cold, it actually made some condensation on my desk, which meant some of the water caught onto the drawing. But lucky enough, I had a fan with me, so it dried pretty quickly and it didn't cause too much damage to what I was drawing. So it wasn't a disaster, guys, don't worry. So anyway, I'm just cutting out all of the parts here. I'm gonna try and speed these up because altogether this video is about, I think, 29 minutes it said, so hopefully it's a lot shorter than that. But this bit's kind of straightforward. I'm just cutting around the pieces and trying to make sure it fits onto the piece of Lego that I have. So as you can see, the cutout that I made fits perfectly aligned with the Lego, so once I get sellotape and stick it together, it will look like it's basically a bus because of the shape that it fits into. And I do the same for the front, the rear and the other side of the exterior. So as you can see, it basically looks like I've got a full-on bus right here. So you're probably wondering, what exactly am I going to do next, because it does look like it's all done. Well, what do we see with buses when they are new? How do they look? They look shiny, they look very red, and that's exactly what I'm going to do here. I'm going to paint these, quote on the word paint, because this whiteboard marker that I use very much acts like paint. So I'm basically just going to make the bus look red and shiny as these new Enviro 100 EVs will look. And I just want to speak on these Enviro 100 EVs for a minute. Now, if I'm going to be completely honest, electric buses are not really my forte. And I come from a generation where I grew up on the Dennis Stark Marshalls, Plaxton Pointers, Plaxton Presidents, Alexander 400s, and etc. Volvo Gemini 1s. So for me, when I see all these electric buses being rolled out and seeing all these diesels being phased out, it does hurt. It does hurt the childhood in me. However, we all knew those days were gonna come. And I will say, I just really don't like how the bus community just really hates on all of these older buses just because they are deteriorating. Because I remember back in late 2019 when you still had Volvo Gemini 1s with go ahead, you still had kind of the OG buses. There were even Danish Marshalls still about on the 193 before it rolled over to Stagecoach. I just really loved how back then people just really praised their old buses and just gave them really good send-offs before they got scrapped or sold elsewhere in the UK. Whereas now, with all these 2009 to 2012 buses getting withdrawn and taken out of service, it's like they don't really get much love because they were the ones that replaced the classics that were rolling around London. So it is a bit unfortunate because those buses do deserve the same kind of love in my opinion, but it is what it is. We can't change people's opinions. People like what they like. I mean, it was lovely seeing back when the Dennis Marshalls were having their last day on the 193 and guys were out on it until the last bus of the day, and so much enthusiasts had different footage. But it's a shame that we won't get to see that kind of energy again. And like, I'm not here to say people shouldn't glaze new and electric buses. If that's what you like, that's what you like. But for me, it's just not my cup of tea. I know it will be the penultimate thing on London streets very, very soon, and no more diesels will exist eventually. However, I'd like to enjoy the old stuff that we have whilst they're still here. Anyways, back to the Enviro 100 EV. If I'm going to be honest, out of a lot of electric single deckers that I have seen, these are definitely one of my favorites. I just really like how you can still see very similar features towards an Enviro 200 MMC in the Enviro 100 EV, and just seeing how Alexandra Dennis have continued on with similar features but made a different design really keeps on that energy going within newer buses, and I really do like that. It was kind of similar to how you had the Euro 4 Enviro 200s, and then you had the facelift Enviro 200s that had a little bit of differences, and then you had the Enviro 200 MMCs, and then now you have the Enviro 100 EVs. So it's nice to see different changes within the design as the years go by and etc. If I had to have a favorite type of electric bus, it would probably be the Electroliners and the GB Kites. I just really like how you can hear the motor, and they have very much similar effects towards like a Gemini 3, and just hearing that continue on throughout some buses is just really great. And I just really like the interior of them, and because they have a similar interior to the Gemini 3s, seeing that live on with an electric bus really does make things quite interesting for me. But if I have to have a least favorite, it's most probably the BZLs. I do like some of the BD11s. I like Arriva and Metrolines ones. I really dislike the Go Ahead ones. I think it's because of the font that they use within their LED system. I really don't like it. Like, it just looks disproportionate with the destination and the bus number. It's the same with Transport UK. I really hate how they do their LED displays. I really don't like how thick the destination looks and things like that. It puts me off, especially being autistic. I don't like it at all. And the reason to why I don't really like the BZLs is because, especially the double-decker variants, because of their loud fan, you can barely hear the motor. And I know the motor is very much the same as the single-decker variants, and you can hear this motor in the single-decker variants, but I don't know, there's something about those buses that just don't do it for me. Like, I definitely prefer Metrolines versions compared to the Stagecoach versions by a mile, but I just think for me, ever since Stagecoach kind of, I don't know, I think because Stagecoach merged with HCT Group, or they took over or whatnot, and they started using the TFL spec, it just took some sort of originality for me. Yes, they retained the orange poles, but like, even today, like, I've seen some of the Enviro 200 MMCs at Ash Grove for the 310 and the D6. One of them were refurbished, and some ex-Tower Transit Enviro 200s from the 488 have transferred as refurb floats, but one of the Enviro 200 MMCs were refurbished and it looked nice and shiny, but they still have the exact same spec. And I've seen some of the 394's batch of MMCs, they have repainted the poles orange, and I like that at least, because it still shows some originality of Stagecoach along with the TFL spec matching with the newer designs of electric buses, which I do like. But when it's just repainted in the same thing, and for me it's like, there's just no more variety, no one cares, everything costs money, so there's no effort put into it. I don't know, for me it's just a bit like, it's a mess. When you have a whole fleet of buses that have one type of interior, and then you go on another bus in the same company and it's a different type of interior, refurbished or not refurbished, it's just very mind-boggling for me. I do not like things like that at all. That's why I haven't really warmed up to the whole ex-Tower Transit buses with Stagecoach and etc, and then the whole first bus thing with the RAT group. Let me not even get into that. But yeah, there's just a lot of things that really do bug me within designs of buses nowadays, but what can we do about it? Anyway, I don't want you guys to think this is just a video of me ranting and hating on electric buses, because that's not what it is. I love buses regardless. My love for buses won't change at all. but of course we're gonna have our thoughts and opinions on new things that we see and old things going away. So it is bittersweet, but at the end of the day, it doesn't change the passion that we have for these things. On a positive note, I just thought I'd let you guys know that I am in the process of drawing a BD11. Yes, I am drawing a BD11. Not a fan of the buses again, but I'm trying to expand my horizon. And I know a lot of people have requested for me to like draw certain buses, but there are some buses that I just haven't drawn yet, like DOEs, for example, that used to be with Go Ahead on routes like the 93 and 151 and 154. But reason why I probably won't be drawing them is because the way I operate with my drawings is very much within the time frame of what's actually going on within the buses. So just like how a lot of Enviro 200s have been withdrawn recently, if I have drawings of those that I've drawn like 3 or 4 years ago and I'm using a bus area like Archway, if I have Enviro 200s with Metroline that are 11 regs that I would put on the 143, I won't put them on anymore, and I will end up using what the actual allocation is in real life, which is WSEs. And I've drawn a few of those and I will show you guys some of those in the next coming videos, but that is just how I operate. So I have been seeing requests on me drawing like older buses and like nostalgia, but I don't really do that because I just like to operate within the time frame of what's actually going on. Like, for example, as I said, I'm using Archway at the moment. At the moment, I'm using Enviro 200 LK10s on the C11. Once on the electroliners, once GB kites become the main allocation, then I will take those off the route the same way and replace them with the GB kites. The only different things I would do is like put an electroliner on like the 17, because even though it's not the main allocation and observations at home, because it's a bus that is within the time frame, Enviro 400 on the 67, that's the reason why I would do something like that. That's MHV on the 106, the previous video with my those buses are at the bus garage that the 106 stays at, but they haven't strayed onto the route. But it is a possibility that it could happen. It's just that I wanted to spice things up, but it's because that's within the time frame. But yeah, I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah. So as you guys can see, I'm placing what you would call the LED displays on the actual bus. I actually don't have real LEDs, so that's why I'm using like prints or out from like a photo or whatnot. But yeah, so these are just the finishing touches of the bus. Yeah, it's not as perfect as the real thing, but that's the best I'm gonna get because it is very difficult drawing these things, especially how a lot more technology is advanced and a lot more people are creative with the buses that they're making. It is very difficult catching these designs, so I've honestly tried my best with this Enviro 100 EV. I do think I could have done a bit better, because whilst I was recording I was trying to make sure it was in the frame and you guys could see what I was doing, but I do think it looks good. Let me know what you guys think of it. But with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you guys think. If you want more videos like this, please let me know in the comments. If you want more videos of me talking, let me know. But in real life videos will be back very shortly. Just stay tuned, subscribe. Let's try and get to 1,000 subscribers and see you in the next one.